Hello, and welcome to On the Turf, hosted by four guys who have never been on the turf. My name is Arjun and Rohan.
I'm Rohan Patel.
And we are so happy to announce that, although Camille and Shree couldn't join us today, we got arguably two better hosts with us. I
think we do.
We got Corey and AJ back by popular fan demand. Our two Giants fans are back. Wait, can you hear me?
Happy to be here.
Okay. We're so happy to bring them back because it's draft week, and the Giants might be the most interesting team going to this draft. So before we get into the draft, let me just ask you guys, we didn't really get a post-mortem on the 2023 season from you guys in terms of the Giants. So, you guys were waxing poetic a lot last time. I'd love to hear you talk about what you thought of the 2023 season for the New York Giants.
I can start on this. I think it was kind of a bring down for us, It was like a quick reality check as to what our team is really looking like. The season before that, we won a playoff game against the Vikings, who were a great team that year. A little bit fraudulent, but, this year, we were really taken back down to reality. However, after hearing about all the news about what was going on within the Giants organization itself, with the beef between head coach Brian Daboll and defensive coordinator Wink Martindale, I think it makes so much sense how we ended up where we were at. I think there was just too much disillusion going on within the organization this year.
I'll second everything my guy Corey just said. Honestly, as a Giants fan, I don't know if anyone went into this season feeling the best about our prospects, especially with Saquon coming in on a franchise tag. That was a situation I think every Giants fan was kind of scratching their head at, especially after Daniel Jones got a bag. You see quarterbacks around the league taking pay cuts, trying to keep the group together, and that was just a weird situation, so it got off on a weird foot. Another thing I'd like to mention is the bright spot we all thought, trading for Darren Waller from the Raiders, thinking that was going to plug a major hole for us. And even today, breaking news, it came out that him and his wife, Kelsey Plum of the Vegas Aces, getting divorced. I mean, guys,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's breaking news.
Things are going downhill.
It came out that about 12 hours after they returned from their honeymoon, Darren Waller was traded from Vegas to New York. So that quick of a change, the fact that this guy tied the knot with the love of his life, and he was rather forced to leave the city of Las Vegas where they were supposed to cohabit and start their family and begin their union. It's really a horrible situation, and now he's looking at retirement. So the weapons situation was off, the quarterback situation was off, and between what was going on with the coaches, like my man just said, honestly, I don't think anyone was too high, but definitely a disappointing year.
Could this be a bounce back year for Darren Waller?
That's what I was thinking as well.
The
passion. Do you think he's going to have the passion now?
After it's like they say, like in high school, like when after like a breakup happens, you play harder.
Yeah.
Does that still carry over to a divorce?
Maybe his commitment to the game is going to be more now. He's going to get back in the grind.
I can't lie, man. I don't think so. Darren Waller's been like posting rap music and stuff on his Instagram. He's actually I think he's just washed at this point. It might be over for him. What's actually crazy? One of my friends from high school is cousins with Darren Waller.
We got to get an inside scoop from CM right here.
And he never taps
on Darren Waller. This is more than I thought we'd be talking about Darren Waller, to be clear. But
I'm gonna have to tap in with him and see what he's saying about Darren Waller's future in the New York and seeing if he's gonna retire or not. Although he never wants to volunteer information about this. But I'll be for sure to tap in.
Yeah, but on that note, let's get into the draft. So we don't need to spend any time on number one. We know what's going to happen. Caleb Williams is as close to a Bear as humanly possible without signing his contract.
Kid.
The dotted line is all that remains.
Wait, what'd you say, Corey?
Poor kid.
That's too bad.
No, okay. I mean, we said this last time. I think Caleb Williams might be stepping into one of the best situations possible for a number one draft pick, especially a quarterback. I mean, stepping into a loaded wide receiver room, an improving offensive line, nice weapons all around him,
defense.
An improving defense. Coaching, questionable.
I was following you.
The talent is there for this to be a playoff contending team if Caleb Williams is everything that he's supposed to be.
I was following you up until the coaching argument. I think coaching is the most important part for a rookie quarterback. And the fact that Matt Eberflus is their head coach still going into the God's year 2024, I think that's just insane work. And they're trying to set Caleb up to fail. The rest of the team, though, is quality. I will give them that. They're a much improving team. They were looking really good towards the end of last year.
Wait, sorry.
I mean, honestly, look, that organization is really trying to turn the ship right now. From everything that I'm hearing about, like investing in a new stadium, new president, one of the youngest presidents of football operations in the entire NFL, I feel like they're just trying to put things together. But Caleb Williams has some serious question marks for me. I think it's going to be almost one of the weirder situations in the league where a guy in his rookie year, it's almost looked at as a make or break kind of situation based on the level of investment that the group has tried to put in around him. The project there seems like they're really pushing all their chips on Caleb Williams. Not that it's the wrong thing, but I don't know. With some of the character things that we were seeing, going to cry and hug his mom after losing in kind of insignificant games, these are things that I'm paying attention to, especially as our franchise is in the hunt for its quarterback. It's not the kind of thing that is giving me the absolute most confidence in him going into this situation, but he's going to have the weapons.
I always hate when teams try to overanalyze a player's, like, I don't know, not their morality, but their character, their commitment to the game going in. I mean, if there's one thing you can say about Caleb Williams, he is committed to the game. You don't have to question his passion.
And he's already gotten it back.
You don't have to question any of that. I mean, he definitely cares a lot, and I think that's something that goes underrated a lot. Yes, he thinks he's really good at football. He might be a little bit cocky, but I'd rather have someone who's cocky and knows and will do everything they can do to make sure that they reach that level, rather than someone who is humble but doesn't put the work in. And I think Caleb Williams is going to be. I don't know if he's going to be able to do everything that he did in college because of how different the NFL is, but I can assure you that his character, I think, won't be an issue come the NFL. Is what I think.
Yeah, I think there's some things even less so. First of all, I think on the character thing, like, let's not forget Caleb is going to be very interesting for how he translates to the NFL, just on a character standpoint, because he is the very first NIL superstar in football to really hit the major leagues. Like, I think from here on out, it's going to be interesting to see just how he treats the media, because he's already been kind of a celebrity. He's been in LA for the past 2.5 years and been treated so and gets paid as much as he does. But I do think there are some weird things in his game. Like, I'm not going to call myself like a tape aficionado or something, but like, he has a lot of time behind that USC offensive line, and he's able to do all these Mahomesian things, playing behind that line, finding a receiver downfield 10 seconds after the play starts. You're not going to get that kind of time in the NFL. So I think it'll be interesting to see. But I'm glad, like, I think Corey and AJ, you guys said this, like, there's been no greater expectation than a number one pick. Like, I don't think we're going to be sitting here if they win 5 games next year and be like, oh, Caleb did pretty well. I think this team has to contend for a wild card spot right off the gate. I mean, the whole team is ready to compete. They were near competing last year. And I'm just saying, if Justin Fields has a better year than Caleb, just saying.
Justin Fields is not starting.
He's not going to see the field, man.
Yeah, let's relax on your
Justin Fields, man.
Jesus Christ.
I will say, I think.
Let's move on to pick number 2. I think things get interesting here. I mean, at first it was trending Jayden Daniels. I think it's shifted now back towards Drake Maye, who was mainly the consensus number 2 for much of the year. I think it's the right move. I think Drake Maye is a little bit more pro-ready. I think he's a bit more of a pro NFL quarterback than Jayden Daniels is. Obviously, there's some slight issues to his game, the slight issues to his footwork and things like that. Is Washington the best place for him? I don't know.
Cliff can fix him.
You don't know how much it upsets me that Cliff Kingsbury got another shot in the NFL. You don't know how upsetting it is that I don't even care what team it is. I wouldn't even wish that on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. To have Cliff Kingsbury coach your offense or coach anything on your team. That man is a football terrorist. He doesn't know how to coach. He doesn't know how
That's the perfect term.
He does not know how to coach an NFL team, an NFL offense. I watched him
Kyler
ruin
made
my
the playoffs,
for
bro.
years.
You were talking about Super Bowl 2 years ago on the show.
If we had an actual coach, we might have actually won the Super Bowl because
okay.
Because no, bro.
This is delusional Arizonan talk, man.
Okay,
Yeah.
perhaps. But we wouldn't
You
have
got some
no,
desert sand in your brain,
that
man.
year we completely. Hey, Suns are winning tonight. Chip on the way. Chip on the way.
I don't know about all that, bro.
Nas Reed has other things to say.
Shut up about Nas Reed. But no, bro. Cliff Kingsbury, I feel bad for Drake Maye, bro. Cliff Kingsbury just knows how to run an air raid offense. He's not going to fix any of Drake May's issues. And quite frankly, Washington isn't talented enough, so I feel bad for him. But I think he's the right choice at number 2 to build another franchise.
Let me talk about this number 2 pick. I honestly I think Jayden Daniels is a Commander.
Mm.
I think we're underestimating how bad the Commanders have been as a franchise for the past however many years and how many times they make the wrong decision. I think in these like sports talks we always hope that these teams are going to make the best decision. And now while I think Drake May is the clear-cut number 2 guy in this draft class, I think the Commanders, especially in big part due to Cliff Kingsbury, are going to end up taking Jayden Daniels. I think Jayden Daniels fits much better into Kingsbury's offense than Drake May would. I think Jayden Daniels is just their guy. He's been linked to them for so long. I think all the stuff about his manager is just smoke and fire. I think when you really look at it, I think Jayden Daniels is going to be their guy on draft night.
The thing that concerns me with this whole situation with the second pick is the hit rate on UNC quarterbacks.
Yes.
I mean, if you take a look at the track record of guys who have been drafted in a high place, maybe not even in the top 5 like we're talking about this year. Like we're talking about historic offensive
Number
talent.
6, Daniel Jones.
I'm saying we're talking about guys who are touted, who can throw the ball, who can be serviceable on the offense. But I mean, Sam Howell, sure he was a passing leader last year. Sure he was putting up these crazy numbers against these Mickey Mouse teams. But when you really look at the football player that you have in front of you, is Sam Howell passing the eye test? Sure he can sling it, but is that guy really bringing you wins? Is he invigorating your offense? Is that the locker room leader that you want? It's just not convincing to me. And as much as I love Drake May, and I might love him for the Giants at 6, I don't know if I love him for the Commanders at 2.
Can I give my take on this really quickly? Here's my theory on what y'all are doing right now. My theory is that you guys are just trying to wish Jayden Daniels into existence at 2, so the Giants are in play for Drake May at 3. Am I wrong?
Maybe just a little bit.
No, I mean, I don't know. Jayden Daniels, I think he's definitely more explosive of a player, and he has a higher ceiling than Drake May does. But I think he has some very real, NFL issues that will need to be worked out. He can't just kind of scamper around the field. He can't take hits like he does. He's kind of pinballed around. On the plays that I've watched him.
I mean, Josh Allen takes those hits.
Yeah, but Josh
He's
Allen's
not built like Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is built to take those hits.
That's
Jayden
true.
Daniels
That's
is a
true.
little bit scrawny, I'm afraid.
I think the one thing, Jayden Daniels reminds me a lot of Justin Fields as a prospect. And I realized about 5 minutes ago I was talking about Justin Fields. But Justin Fields, to this point, Arthur Smith and the Steelers might save him, but to this point he has not panned out. And Jayden Daniels could be that same. Like, he doesn't throw the middle of the field. That's a real issue we see with quarterbacks in the prospect phase. You got to be able to throw the middle of the field. Bryce Young last year really sucked because he didn't throw the middle of the field. You got to be able to move the chains. You can't just hit those deep bombs, and you can't just piecemeal it down the field. And Jayden Daniels is walking in a situation potentially in Washington where he has 2 great receivers, but not much else beyond that.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing that you also got to think about is that at LSU, he had 2 of the best receivers in the entire country, in Neighbors and Brian Thomas. And now you go, and I mean, I remember him when he was at Arizona State, right before he transferred to LSU, and he was, I wouldn't say dog water, but he was pretty mid. I mean, he didn't really do anything. He didn't do anything special. Like, I was really surprised that he even got a transfer to LSU. I mean, he was not anything special. He was not leading our team or ASU anywhere. And obviously, like, it's a team in totality, but at LSU, you have to take into account that he had some of the best weapons around him. Granted, he took a huge step forward. I mean, you don't win a Heisman by just, like, getting good talent around you. But I do think, I don't know if he's ready to be an NFL center.
But since we're talking about these 2 quarterbacks a lot, let's bring in the third one, JJ McCarthy, the most controversial player in this draft class. And let's talk about the New England Patriots at 3, because I think they might be the most interesting team in the top 5, because it seems that apparently they said they're open for business, but they haven't gotten an offer. And there's been a ton of reports from the GM and from Schefter and Rappaport that the Patriots are waiting for an offer, but they still haven't gotten one that can convince them. That tells me that I think the Patriots want to move off, or don't necessarily want to move off, but will move off of it for a really good offer. So, what do we think the Patriots will do? Do you think the Patriots are going to trade down, or will they pick the remainder of Daniels, and McCarthy, or could they just do the weird random thing and pick Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3? I could see that happening possibly as well.
I think if you're the Patriots, you can't afford to not take a quarterback here. I mean, you can't afford to throw. I mean, you can afford to throw your entire season if you want to, but next year's quarterback class is nowhere near as good as this one. And I think you need to take your chances right now. I could see them trading down if they really like McCarthy or someone, and if someone really likes Maye/Daniels, whoever falls to 3. I could see them trading down and hoping that they get the quarterback later. But I just think you take your guy if you're the Patriots. I don't see why you don't just take your guy. If you like McCarthy, just take McCarthy there then.
I don't. My thing with the Patriots is I do think the Patriots actually want to move off that pick and trade down because I do think that they believe that they can get somewhere with a McCarthy or a Penix or even a Bo Nix, unfortunately. But I think that they do think that they can get somewhere with one of those guys. And I think the real problem is that nobody who is in need of a quarterback has what it takes to trade up to that spot. Like, when you think about it, the Vikings, besides Justin Jefferson, who I don't think they're going to trade, there's nothing there that they really have to trade up with. The Giants have nothing to trade up with.
I mean, you just got to trade picks. You just got to trade a lot of first-round picks to get.
They have 11 and 23, the Vikings.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. But I don't know. I don't think that's. I think we're seeing a meta shift in the NFL. Like an in-time meta shift to where teams are more focused on building the rest of the team first, and then getting their quarterback, getting their guy on a rookie deal. Like you look at what the Texans did, and what the Chiefs did too. Building the team around them, then getting their guy on a rookie deal. I think that's like what they're more focused on. And I think the Pats realize that team is nowhere near ready to compete.
that's true. But also, I mean, can you allow a fan base to let your starting quarterback be Jacoby Brissett going into the year? I mean, like, I don't know. I just feel like there is some part of it is like you're running a business, you're running a entertainment franchise,
That is
and
true.
you can't trot out Jacoby Brissett. Like I feel like that's
And
your
Bob
only
Kraft
option.
is not getting any younger either.
Yeah.
I'm sure he wants the team to
Yeah,
win.
and I mean,
so,
like,
yeah.
I think that's the other interesting thing too is that you're no longer running under a Bill Belichick
Yeah.
GM. Do you take your big
That's
move
true.
now? Like, do you start it off at the bank? I think you have to. I'm interested in like if Maye gets drafted 2, do the Patriots take Jayden Daniels? Because I don't know, he just doesn't feel like a New England quarterback, does he? I mean,
Jacoby Brissett and him, like Jacoby Brissett is been a runner in the past.
no, but
especially early in
I mean, let's be real. Jayden Daniels is so much more explosive.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe he can learn under
But-
Jacoby for a year.
This is also not the Patriots of the past. You just said it. Bill Belichick's. This is no
That's
longer
true.
Bill Belichick's team. This is a new team, new leadership, new head coach. This is going to be a drastically different Patriots team than what we've ever seen. This won't be like the defensive stalwart that we know of as the Patriots.
We're going to find out what the Patriot way really means, man. I mean, and here's the thing. This happens every year with some guy inevitably. From how people were feeling about JJ McCarthy from the time of the Natty in the postseason, all of the wins leading up to that. I mean, if you just look at the kinds of plays that he's making and how much Jim Harbaugh was asking him to take on a load and shoulder the load of that team, it's a little bit appalling when you look at how much his draft stock has risen from the Natty to now having played 0 snaps of football. I feel like this happens every year, and on the inverse of that, inexplicably and inevitably, some top prospect is going to get torpedoed and Will Levised into the beginning of the second round. And I feel like this is where New England really has a chance to pull off a sneaky move, because that's the kind of thing that they've been known for. And I feel like if there's anything that's going to persist about the Patriot way, it's going to be the way that they identify these talents and make sure that they lock them down later on in the draft. I honestly see the Vikings are a team like that who is really ready to make the leap and is trying to keep their star wide receiver happy, trying to make the leap up to the 3rd pick. And I feel like the Patriots could get a lot of value later in the 1st round and later in the draft, especially if a team like the Vikings with assets comes through and wants to help them out.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's interesting when you look at number 4 then, because if you can trade up to number 4, there's no real reason to trade up to number 3. I think.
Well, it depends on what quarterback you want.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I think personally, I think the draft starts at 4 though. I do think 1, 2, 3 fall into place where I'm not sure about Maye and Daniels. I think they're either 2 or 3, or I don't know. I don't know which way it falls, but I think they're both 2 and 3. I think the draft starts at 4 with us. I hate to say it that it starts at us. I really wish that we would just take the obvious call and take Marvin Harrison Jr., a.k.a. the best receiving prospect since who?
Jamar Chase at least, if
Larry-
not better.
If not Larry Fitzgerald. If not the best receiving prospect since Larry Fitzgerald. I don't see why you don't take it. I don't see why you would not. Wait, did I see like looks of disdain when I mentioned Larry Legend?
I mean, Larry Fitzgerald is a great prospect. I think we're just ignoring the numerous amount of great wide receiver prospects at that have come out in the past couple years alone.
Like Kadarius Toney, right?
Maybe guys weren't expected to be as good. Maybe the expectation wasn't there, but
Larry Fitzgerald, I don't think anyone's been picked higher since Larry Fitzgerald as a wide receiver, because he was picked at 3.
3, yeah.
No one's been picked that high since Larry Legend. And mind you, I think he was the best wide receiver in this generation.
Megatron?
Okay.
Antonio Brown?
I disagree
highly
with Antonio
debatable,
Brown.
man.
I don't know
Antonio
if Larry Legend was the most explosive or like the greatest wide receiver of his generation. The most consistently good, yes.
Yes.
He's just a route technician, and his hands are, incredible.
Also, no, wait, hold up, pause, bro. It is early years. He was explosive. Oh, yeah, I wasn't saying pause to that. I was saying pause to the concept of Larry Legend not being explosive.
I don't think anyone was really
in his
early
early years. He was a do-it-all receiver.
He was a do-it-all receiver, but I don't think he had like the star-studded seasons that like Antonio Brown or Calvin Johnson had.
Yeah.
Or even let's throw his name in the ring, Julio Jones.
Yeah, Julio Jones too. That's a good call. Julio Jones had consistency as well. Anyway, we have
enough about Larry
Marvin Harrison is none of these things.
Marvin Harrison Jr. I think can be better than Larry Fitzgerald.
That is a crazy take, bro.
That's a crazy
standard
to hold him to.
Of all time, Marvin Harrison Jr. already.
That's a crazy standard to hold him to.
Maybe.
The pieces are in place.
The pieces are in place, though. I think if the Cardinals do anything but draft Marvin Harrison Jr., the whole front office has to be fired. Marvin Harrison Jr. is in my opinion, the second best player in this draft, right behind Caleb Williams. The best wide receiver prospect, like you said, in a very long time, and he fits the Cardinals' path perfectly right now.
I agree fully. I'm seeing all the reports that we're taking calls to trade out or to trade back and then trade back up and maybe grab like Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze, which are fine. I mean, they're very, very good prospects. Don't get me wrong; they're going to be very, very good receivers in the NFL.
But why settle for the consolation?
Exactly. Is it worth grabbing 2 first-round picks that could end up? You don't know where those picks exactly are going to end up in drafts where you don't know what the landscape is going to look like. I mean, I understand the concept of pushing off. We traded down last year. We got extra picks. I mean, I don't see the point in continuously pushing it off. We are a team that had a top 10 offense when Kyler Murray came back last year. Add a true number 1 receiver to that, along with a lot of good depth moves we made on defense, and we're competing for a playoff position.
I think so.
We also have another first-round pick that we can use and another high second-round pick that we can use to shore up our defense. I think that there's no reason for us to think about moving off of this pick unless it truly is an insane deal and we're assured that we can get a top 10 pick where you land your choice of Odunze or Neighbors. But I think in that situation you also need to get another top 20 pick where you can still grab a tackle or a playmaker on the defensive end of the ball. I think you need to have really high expectations if you're going to trade down, and those high expectations need to be in this draft, not in future ones.
Yeah, I think the most likely scenario, if the Cardinals do trade down, is probably the Vikings coming up from 11. You guys would get 23 in that case, definitely. Probably another first-round pick, if not another one on top of that.
Yeah.
And then you can trade. You can do exactly what they did last year. I mean, last year I believe they went from 3 to 12 to 6. Mm-hmm. So they've shown that they can do it. Now, I think the right pick, like all of you guys said, I think it's Marvin Harrison. But I do think if they drop down, Neighbors and Odunze, they're studs in their own right.
Yeah, they're not scrubs, but they're not Marvin Harrison.
I do think Kyler can make any of these guys successful, too. And I think the offense – but Marvin Harrison is the right pick. But let's talk about – we've been kind of beating around the bush here with the Vikings and the Giants. So, guys, should the Giants trade up for a quarter – let's say Drake May is gone at 2. Should the Giants trade up for a quarterback in this draft?
No.
No, man. No, man. Wow. Look, if anything, the Giants have proven that they can be incredibly resourceful with the kinds of talent that they're looking at. I mean, when I was watching Tyrod Taylor and I was watching Tommy DeVito, at some points this season, I mean, it was kind of blowing me away, the level of quarterback play that was just sitting in our QB room, especially with how, sclerotic and paralytic the offense looked. I mean, literally getting shut out in week 1. That was embarrassing. And when I look at the rest of the talent that we got right now, like if you can throw a guy like Jalen Hyatt up the rail because he's not really a route runner, but he's got burners. You know what I mean? I'm not even mad at maybe like a cheeky Brock Bowers. Like this is the kind of thing that I'm looking at in terms of like some people doubting on the GM and the coach's plan. I feel like the sporting project is there, and Daniel Jones has shown that he can be serviceable. So, bro, give me Malik Neighbors. That's for me though.
For me personally, I think the Giants have a lot more flexibility in this draft than people are talking about. I don't think quarterback has to be a guarantee for us. Daniel Jones is still on contract. Drew Lock just got traded for. I mean, there's very much there's quarterbacks in the quarterback room. I don't think you necessarily have to take a quarterback here. And then my other thing is I think after Drake May, the fall off is so large. Like to me, it's Caleb Williams and Drake May in a tier of their own. And then you drop a tier, and then you drop another tier. Or you drop a tier, then you have Jayden Daniels, and then after that is everybody else, in my opinion. I don't think, McCarthy's worth. In my opinion, McCarthy will not pan out as an NFL quarterback. Michael Penix Jr. is an NFL backup at best, and then Bo Nix is Bo Nix.
He's ready-made product.
Yeah,
you know what he got with him.
I just don't think it's worth taking a quarterback here. For me personally, I'd like to see the Giants trade back. I want to see the Giants either trade back, take Joe Alt, or just one of those two things. Just collect some picks, wait for next year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that if you get like a Dunze or Neighbors at 6, I mean, you could compete. You could.
I don't know about that one.
I mean, come on. You got a really good defense. I've heard them wax poetic about how good the Giants' defense has been at times.
The defense is great.
Did somebody say all pro Dexter Lawrence?
Brian Burns,
the best defensive tackle in the league
Burns.
now that Aaron Donald's retired.
Brian Burns, which is huge.
Quality guy.
The defense looks real good. I mean, you get a solid weapon for Daniel Jones or Drew Lock, and you could.
Very inspiring.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, but also like what you've been saying though, Corey, where you take the approach where you build the rest of the offense and the defense, and then next year, the year after, if the quarterback is there, then you snatch him up. That could be the move. I mean, that could work well for you guys. And if you guys aren't in love with any of the prospects, which I don't see why you would be if you're the Giants, I think it makes sense. But
for me, the only prospect that I'm truly in love with is probably Drake May, Caleb Williams, Joe Alt, and Marvin Harrison Jr. And honestly, I think we have great prospects of getting Joe Alt. I think that's a phenomenal offensive tackle right there. Future Hall of Famer for sure. Do you hear his name? Joe Alt? That's an offensive tackle Hall of Fame name.
Alt sounds like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he sounds
already.
like an elite offensive tackle. But I mean,
he already sounds like it.
But in that case, I think you should trade down, right? I mean, see if you can find a partner who's willing to jump the gun.
It honestly really depends on what happens at 4 and 5. It depends on what happens with the Cardinals and what happens with the Chargers.
What are the Chargers doing?
So that's the thing. I think
What'd you say?
out of 4, between the Cardinals, Patriots, and Chargers, I think the Chargers are the most likely team to trade down out of those 3. The reason being is it seems that Harbaugh wants to build the trenches, right? That's Harbaugh's thing. And Harbaugh is weird. They probably should pick a receiver, but I don't think they will. But I trust him. The man knows how to win. So they'll probably trade down.
Does he know how to win in the NFL?
Considering
he did go to an NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, so a little bit.
I mean, here's the thing. Of all the teams we've been talking about, I feel like the Chargers have to be the most uncertain in terms of what the hell they want to do with this draft.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it across the board, they're kind of lacking with a lot of holes, and they have this brand new head coach, a brand new vision for the project, but they got the same QB who's a proven guy coming off a down year, though. So for me, when I look at the prospects that they have realistically and looking at how deep this draft is in terms of offensive talent, guys like Adonai Mitchell, guys like Xavier Worthy, you're talking about a historically Jerry Rice's son, Brendan Rice.
Historic wide receiver
We're talking
class.
about a historic wide receiver class in terms of how deep the talent goes, and I'm not writing off another Jay Jettis type draft steal. You know what I mean? Ruggs crashed out in a generational way, but Devontae Smith and the rest of these guys ended up being really productive. Jalen Waddle, Nico Collins ended up being really productive. So I think we're seeing a little bit of a repeat with what we had just a few years ago. And to me, the value is there for the Chargers if they want to move down, and other teams would certainly be willing to move up.
Yeah, but I don't know though. There's really no receivers on this Chargers team right now though. I mean, outside
Quentin
of
Johnson. Put some respect
I
on his
mean,
name, man.
Keenan Allen, Quentin
They don't have
Johnston.
Gabe
Oh,
Davis.
where did Gabe Davis go?
Gabe Davis.
Keenan
is a
Allen.
Oh, Jaguar.
Keenan
right,
Allen's
yeah.
still
But-
on the team.
Wait, what?
Isn't Keenan Allen still
Keenan
on
Allen got
the
Keenan
traded
team?
Allen's a
to
bear.
Bears.
He's a bear.
He's on the Bears, bro. Here's the
Oh,
thing.
he is a bear.
Here's the thing about Keenan Allen, bro. He's giving me Damon Milwaukee vibes, bro. I don't think he wants to be there. I think he wanted out, and he just took the most available option. That's besides the point. That should have come up earlier, matter of fact.
God,
But
Keenan was a bear.
Yeah, Keenan.
Dude,
Keenan did not
I
wanna
feel like
go
that-
there,
that's
bro.
what I
LA
say when
just
I
sent him
mean-
there. He probably woke up and was like, "What just happened?
Shit, I'm
to
a
me?"
bear now.
Like, why did I get sent from LA to Chicago?
Chicago.
Well, I don't know if you saw the press conference, but he was talking about how he came off the best year of his career statistically and in terms of like individual production. They wanted him to take a pay cut, restructure his deal, and he was like not doing that. I don't know if it was a trade or if he just signed with the Bears
No,
straight up.
He got traded. For
Yeah, it was a
fourth.
fourth-round pick.
But it's probably
Fourth-round
mutual
pick,
and
right.
They want to move off. But yeah, I mean, with the Chargers, I feel like you got to take a receiver. I mean, like it's
Harbaugh though. I trust Harbaugh, man. He's gonna make a
Blake
1940s
Corum,
offense with Justin
fifth
Herbert.
pick.
Blake Corum is a crazy shout, bro.
Jim Harbaugh, Blake Corum
Blake
with
Corum
the
is
fifth
a
pick.
Yeah, Blake.
Crazy
No, that's what I'm saying.
shout,
J.K.
bro.
Dobbins, Blake Corum, Gus Edwards. That's a crazy running
Jim
back.
Harbaugh will take Blake Corum. He will find a way, and he's
He
going to
definitely
get
will.
goddamn Blake Corum on his football team.
Justin Herbert, it's time to learn how to hand off the ball, buddy. Your throwing days are done. You're handing
do
it
that
off from
anymore.
now on.
No more, bro.
I don't know. But like the thing is though, will a team trade up? Is like
The Vikings.
are they going to trade up to 5 or do they wait and do they just hope and pray that McCarthy will fall to 8 or something?
McCarthy.
Really?
Because the Raiders are looking to trade up for a quarterback.
That's what I'm
There's
saying.
plenty of teams.
Sneaky team. The Raiders are a sneaky team to trade
Yeah.
up for
Yeah,
JJ
Raiders.
McCarthy.
I forgot about them.
Apparently, the Raiders called about the number 2 pick, which means the Raiders are yet another team can add to the list that are interested in Drake May, probably. Like, I think all of these teams, the farther you go down the board, the Vikings are the only team that's amassed capital that they can move up, 23 as well. So,
I mean,
I think
I
they have
think-
to move up. Otherwise, they're going to lose out on their and they have to get a quarterback, too, unless they're planning to run with Sam Darnold for this year.
But
I
are they
think-
content with? I mean, I think if you're the Vikings, essentially, if you can't nab the Patriots pick, are you okay with JJ McCarthy being your guy?
I think so.
You think they're okay with
think-
that?
I think they are, and I think that I low-key, here's a sneaky trade-up proposition for the Raiders.
Let's hear it.
I think the Raiders are ready to trade Devontae Adams.
I heard they weren't.
Right
though.
after extending AP, bro?
That's
I
what
think
they said
that the
about A.J.
Raiders
Brown,
are
too.
ready to trade Devontae Adams. I cannot lie. I don't think Devontae Adams has that much longer of a future there.
I don't think it's that
What's
much
his
longer of a
destination,
future
though?
period.
Where are they sending him?
I honestly, I don't know. He might be a Charger.
Bro, imagine
Whoa.
imagine if we trade for Devontae Adams, bro,
It'd be
instead of getting Marvin
Hopkins,
Harrison.
run back
Jr.
to Hopkins. and
Actually, I
square
actually would not want to do that.
Yeah.
But
That would not make sense. That would not make sense.
But I think that's a good point to bring up, though. Is like, are our teams going to be willing to not just move capital, but to move players as well? I mean, I saw something that was like, what if the Cardinals were to move off of 4 and trade with the Giants? What if we could nab like Azeez Ojulari or something?
Yeah.
In a trade down, you know. But like, our
Man,
teams.
do you really want Azeez Ojulari? Do you want half a season of mediocrity?
Bro, the issue is he'd come in and be the best edge rusher on our team
What
immediately.
about, what about
That's
Cameron,
really
what's
bad.
his name?
That's a really
That's really bad.
It's a really
Dennis
crappy thing.
Gardeck?
Wait, isn't his brother isn't his brother BJ Ojulari on the Cardinals?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
oh,
his
yeah,
brother.
yeah,
We have his
yeah.
brother. We could link him up. But
It's like Quinn and Williams and Quincy Williams. We have them at home.
no, but I
They
mean,
got
I think it's,
they got
I
Quincy
think
Williams and Quentin Williams. We got BJ Ojulari and Azeez Ojulari.
they're just as good, I
Yeah.
promise. But no, I don't think it'll happen. But it could be interesting to see if a team is willing to trade their player instead of actual draft capital. But I don't know. I mean, to shift a little bit, but then you got to bring in the other quarterbacks as well into play.
Penix.
I mean,
and Bo
Penix
Nix.
and Nix. I think it's you got to talk about where do teams value these guys in relation to the rest of the quarterback class. I think specifically in relation to McCarthy. If McCarthy's sort of QB4, where do Penix and Nix fall then as well? Is that a team? Are they like closer to McCarthy than we think they are, or are they truly like bottom half first
McCarthy
round
at QB4 is farcical. I can't wrap my head around that one. That one just makes no sense.
To me, he's got the intangibles.
To me, the eye test proves to you between the kind of offense that Kalen DeBoer was letting Michael Penix run at Washington versus what we saw from McCarthy at University of Michigan. Like, it's night and day. One guy looks like a bona fide leader. One guy looks like he's following coach's orders. When we talk about a game manager, I don't mean to hate on this man, JJ McCarthy. I hope his NFL career feeds families. But, like, looking at what Michael Penix is as a football product and in terms of the intangibles that he brings to the table, I feel like he's a wash on McCarthy, man.
I have to disagree.
But on that point, really quickly, it's not like Harbaugh. I do think like Kalen DeBoer and Harbaugh have two different philosophies, right? Harbaugh is never, ever, like even with Justin Herbert now, he's never going to run like a super passing-focused offense, right? He's never going to ask the quarterback. That's not his philosophy. He loves to play good defense, run the ball well, and control the time of possession. Kalen DeBoer, on the other hand, wants to sling it and had a quarterback who could do it with two great wide receivers that he could do it with. So I think at that point, it's like, how much do you value Harbaugh's philosophy versus what McCarthy actually brings to the table as a quarterback?
But you look at a team like the Vikings. I think we keep coming back to the Vikings because they're the one that looks like they want to draft a quarterback. Who's a better fit for your offense then? I mean, you're running an offense that has
JJ
the best
McCarthy.
receiver in the NFL. You do want to sling it. You actually factually do.
I don't think you do.
They love running play action. McCarthy's a great play action quarterback.
I think it's important to note the current meta in the NFL with coaches. In the Kyle Shanahan era of the NFL, game managers are all the rage. Game managers literally go to the Super Bowl consistently. Like, the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is able to make it to a Super Bowl and compete, like, that just tells you all you need to know. I think JJ McCarthy fits just fine in the Viking system. He does the stuff that they're going to want him to do. Because the thing is, when you really look at the stats, as much as I dislike JJ McCarthy as a prospect, the one thing that he does really well compared to everybody else is that he hits the middle of the field throws.
Yeah.
He hits the important middle of the field throws, which NFL GMs love so much, compared to like Michael Penix, who's gonna hit your deep down the field to the sideline throws, which are great. That's just not that product in the NFL. That's not what's going on. In the NFL, they need you to hit the middle of the field throws, and that's what JJ McCarthy does. And I think that's what the Vikings are going to go with.
That is what that could be what they need. But the other thing though is that the big selling point of McCarthy is that he's 21, 22. He's a younger quarterback, right? You think he has more room to grow. This isn't anywhere near his peak, which is all well and good. But if you're the Vikings, you don't want someone who.
I think they can. They signed Sam Darnold can start for a year.
Sure, but I mean, the rest of your team is ready. You signed Aaron Jones over the offseason. You have Justin Jefferson who is at his peak right now, peak performance right now. Your defense is underrated, I think. I mean, Brian Flores finds a way to make this defense not insufferable, despite their lack of talent. You get a quarterback who can make the most of Justin Jefferson, who again is a top 3, top 5 player in the NFL. That is what you need. You need to find a way to maximize him. And if McCarthy's not that guy now, I don't think he's your guy then. Because you can't wait 3 years for McCarthy to finally figure it out and to be like a top quarterback. By that time, Jefferson's either gone or he's off his peak now.
That's true. Let's talk about Penix and Nix really quickly before we kind of finish up the episode. What do you guys think? I think Penix is a perfect fit for the Raiders. I think the Raiders have met with him multiple times at this point. At this point, it seems to me that Penix is going to be a round 1 quarterback, though.
I think he's 100% a round 1 quarterback.
Initially, I was thinking throughout, I don't think he's going to drop past round 1. So at that point, do the Raiders pick him at 13? Did they trade down? Did they trade back up into the first round? Like, what do you guys think that looks like if it is the Raiders or if it's another team for Penix?
I mean, I think AP has got the right philosophy when it comes to this. Of course, he's a Giants legend. We got to acknowledge that first and foremost. But, I mean, look, the way that Penix plays and the kind of story that he is, I feel like the Raiders are one of those teams that is really investing in personalities. I feel like intangibles, you can talk about inevitability. That's the Mahomes intangible, the characteristic one. If you want to just talk about dogs and guys who have been through it, like been through the ringer, like in a blender, like in their whole life, I feel like he is the profile of the quarterback that the Raiders want. Like, all due respect to Aiden O'Donnell, he put up a monster game last year, passing, 500 yards?
Against us.
Whatever the case may be with that. I feel like
the case may be.
I feel like when it comes to Penix and the profile that he fills out within that locker room in particular, and the journey that he's had, I feel like it goes beyond just the talent. It goes into the football planning of it all.
Did you see the quote from him?
I did.
That was
the
hard, bro.
Yeah, okay.
Bro, that was such a hard quote.
I'm paraphrasing, but he essentially says, like, you can look at my medical history, you can look at my ACLs and all that.
You can run any X-ray or what is the other thing that they run, like MRI?
MRI on me, but all you need from me is an EKG.
Which is like
that's hard. That's what I'm saying. He's got heart, bro. He's got heart, there, bro. And the Raiders need a heartbeat, bro.
Like that's what I was telling these guys before we started the show. Like after reading that article, that Players Tribune article, I'm ready to run through a brick wall for this dude.
He's a dog, bro. Yeah. He's a dog.
His story makes him a Raider. Yeah. His story makes him in my mind. I don't know.
And to be very honest, I could see the Raiders getting to sit and wait for him to come to them. I don't think they're gonna have to do that much work to get Michael Penix Jr. I don't think there's that many teams towards the middle of the draft that are going to be like fiending for Michael Penix Jr. I think no Diddy, but I think they might just be okay. I think they might just get their guy at their spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said like Michael Penix sounds like a Raider. I think he's just a football player, bro. I mean, he is in
fact one.
No, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like he's just a football player. Like
he definitely is.
I don't understand why people aren't more excited to draft him. I was watching him.
It's like, the age,
in the playoffs and stuff. I get it's the age. I get that
it's the age. It's the injury history. It's just not. It's not the safe pick. It's not the safe pick.
He's a high risk, high reward guy. I think.
Yeah,
I understand, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like guys like this, they figure it out. I mean, you had a prolific college career on some really good teams. I think people like that, they figure it out and they succeed. But I
hope so.
I think the Raiders, yes, they could drop and probably pick him. I think you just sit and take him if you really like him at 13. I mean, quality quarterback, quality guy. On top of that, I think the Raiders are a team that tend to just do what they want in the draft. Mm-hmm. They'll just take who they like if they like them enough. I mean, think back to a few years ago with the.
It's a new GM though.
Yeah. Fair. I mean, I don't know. I think they sit and take. I don't see the point in trading back when I think, like you said, a lot of teams are going to be, I think, looking at least interested somewhat in Penix. Pause.
Hey, but to dig into the Bo Nix of it all, man, I feel like this guy is a turkey club in a plastic tub off the shelf, bro. You know exactly what he is. He is not surprising anybody. He's
not fooling anyone.
He's microwavable. He's a white bread as white bread. Not even because he's a white guy. And look, I could say it because I'm a very white guy, especially in this lighting. But hey, Bo Nix is a product that we know and we can appreciate for what he's done for the game of college football. But he's Stetson Bennett 2.0, if not a little more geriatric.
Man, I can tell you what Bo Nix is. Bo Nix is a Bronco.
He looks like
Bo Nix, no matter what.
He was glazing Sean Payne the other day on someone's podcast.
Is a Bronco.
It was on the Herd. Yeah, on Colin Cowherd's show. I saw that.
Yeah, man.
And
the Broncos are an interesting team. We haven't talked about them at all. I really don't know what they're doing.
They got their guy, Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, man.
Bro, I feel so bad for Zach Wilson, man.
Yeah.
Like, bro, in my heart of hearts, I feel bad for Zach Wilson. He didn't ask to be projected that high.
This is actually one of the quarterback rooms of all time.
It's maybe the worst quarterback room on paper I've ever seen.
Zach Wilson, Ben DiNucci, and
Jared Ben DiNucci went to high school 10 minutes away from my house. Pittsburgh finest. Wexford's finest. But yeah, Bo Nix, you guys were at the Broncos. I think that's definitely a target. I can't see Sean Payton picking Bo Nix at 12. Does not make sense.
I think Bo Nix it's like funny. Like people are saying like he's a round one quarterback. I think he's going to get Will Levis, if not Hendon Hookered, and like fall around
2 or
3.
Yeah.
I quite frankly, I don't know how off. It depends on how off the rocker Sean Payton is at this point. But I could very well see the Broncos either picking him at 12 or trading up to get Bo Nix.
I mean, the only way
I think the Broncos are that terrible of an organization at this current point that it's just not out of the realm of possibility of them to do that.
The guy is crazy. He's a crazy person.
Who, Bo Nix or Sean Payton?
Sean, both.
Oh,
No, Bo Nix seems normal.
But
Yeah, man.
no, but the issue with the Broncos is they have to do something. That like
Do they? They could tank. I think they are very very much showing they're just ready to tank this year.
Did you see those
they
new
also-
uniforms
have
they
no
rolled
capital
out?
to move
They
up
don't
either,
want
which
to
is
win.
the sad part of it.
The Broncos this year are engaged in one of the most auspicious acts of foreign direct investment in the entire history of the NFL by investing $38 million into the city of
Russell
Pittsburgh.
Wilson. Yeah.
Bro, and the first game
That
of the
FDI
season
is
is
coming to
happening in
Heinz
Brazil.
Field.
The first game of the season is happening in Brazil, and this is the biggest FDI that's happening in the entire NFL this year, man.
I'm
like fucking
I'm ready to
NAFTA.
get to hot takes though. I
Yeah,
have
Steelers
a hot
actually
take
like that.
surrounding the Broncos.
Yes. Oh yeah. I want to. I've heard this, but I want to hear.
Okay.
Hear your guys' reaction to this.
This is my draft night hot take. I'm thinking. Now, this is gonna sound a little bit biased. Of course, this hot take has to do with my own team, the Giants. But I could very much see the Broncos trading up with the Giants to get their quarterback at 6 in exchange for Pat Surtain. Pat Surtain in their first. And here's
The Giants have
writing's
nothing to
been in
give
the
up
walls
the
for Pat
Broncos.
Surtain for a minute now. The writing's been in the walls for Pat Surtain for a minute now. I mean, you look at the new promotional stuff that the Broncos just put out for their brand new uniforms. Pat Surtain is nowhere to be found. How are you not going to have your star player in the uniforms if you don't plan on keeping him long term? He's not there for the future. He's a draft night trade, and he might be a draft night trade to the Giants.
That would be a shell-shocking move.
That would be crazy. I don't think it's like so respectfully. I think it could get traded. It's not going to be the Giants.
It's not
though.
to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
going to be the
it's not to you.
Giants.
I was so the Broncos have nothing to give up to move up. They traded all
They
their
got
firsts.
Surtain. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't think you.
That's
can
why I
give
don't
up
think they're going to
certain-
move
Yeah,
because I just
they have
don't
to
think
stay.
they can afford to do it.
I think they have to stick. And I think they're going
I
to
think-
take.
I
probably,
think
like,
it's Pat
BBA
Surtain
and
in
just
the
go with,
first.
Like,
They could get Quinyon Mitchell. He's the corner, top corner in the draft. Pair him
I
with
think
Surtain.
it's Pat Surtain in a first. I think Pat Surtain in a first gets them their QB.
is that enough?
And that
for you?
might very well
Is that
be
enough for you
JJ
to move
McCarthy.
down
Would you be happy with that?
6 picks?
I'd be more than happy with Pat Surtain in a first.
You're out of the running for Joe Albert.
I don't know,
and
bro.
Adunze.
This draft is so loaded. I mean, you miss out on Neighbors and Adunze, and then you're kind of just like, I mean, the hit rate on some of these wide receivers. I mean, the hindsight is going to be 2020 with this, especially the way that, I mean, we are no exception, but the media as a whole has been gassing up these receivers and all the offensive talent. I feel like there's a cheeky Brock Bowers somewhere in here for one of these teams if they want that
Broncos.
downfield threat. Like,
Brock Bowers
that
is
is a
really
receiving
good.
and blocking option who I feel is going to be generational. It's just no one's, I think, in a position to spend a top 5, maybe a top 8 pick on him. But once we start talking top 12, top 18, I think it becomes a very real prospect.
I'll tell you who's going to get Brock Bowers. The New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is going to be slamming the table for Brock Bowers. There's not a win-now team in the NFL more than the New York Jets this year. Robert Saleh is on the line. Aaron Rodgers' entire legacy is on the line this year as far as I think the media is concerned. Like, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't perform this year, we're going to look back on his career differently. And I think Brock
He's
Bowers...
washed.
We'll see.
He's washed.
But Brock Bowers is the kind of player you
He's
get
washed.
if you need a win now, and you're sitting at
I
10.
agree.
Yeah.
I think Brock Bowers is severely underrated for some reason.
Because Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts has done this to Brock Bowers.
No.
The thing-
Kyle
the thing is
Pitts didn't do this to Brock
it's
Bowers.
not Kyle
Arthur
Pitts'
Smith
fault.
did
It's
this to
Arthur
Brock
Smith's
Bowers.
This is
goddamn
Arthur
fault.
Smith's problem,
This is
man.
his fault.
Oh, I think your AirPod just died.
Oh, fuck. Okay, wait. Did both of them die?
No, but you can only talk out of the left one.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's just raw dog it. Let's just finish it up.
Okay, all right. Here, I'm just going to give my final Bo Nix take before we end the episode. I've had this one cooking for a while.
Let's hear it.
The Dallas Cowboys are going to draft Bo Nix at 24.
No.
Dak
no.
Prescott is
I'm not mad at
going.
that.
No.
Dak Prescott is going to the final year of his deal.
As a divisional rival, I don't hate it.
Mike,
Please take him. Please.
Mike,
If you can hear me now. If you can hear me now.
Jones,
If you can hear me. Jerry Jones, if you can hear me now.
no, okay. Real talk though. Dak Prescott's going to the final year of his deal. He's going to hit free agency next year. Mike McCarthy is near the end at this point. Like this is it for them. Both
This
of
is
them.
the year. This is it.
And I don't think it's going to be it. Like, so respectful to the Cowboys. I believed in them the past couple years. It's not going to be this year for them. They need insurance. Jerry Jones wants a succession plan behind Dak Prescott, the same way he had Dak Prescott after Tony Romo. I think Bo Nix makes sense. He looks like a Cowboy. I'm not sure if he should be a Cowboy, but I think he will be. You get the fifth-year option, let him sit behind Dak this year, and Bo Nix will be thrown to CeeDee Lamb come 2026.
Oh, God. I hope that really happens, because then the Cowboys, they should draft an actual player this year, I think, to improve their chances, but man can dream.
Yeah.
And
anyway,
Michael Parsons will be a Giant.
We're approaching 50 minutes on this episode.
Inshallah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Corey and AJ. Final words on the draft. Any hot takes you'd like to leave us with before we close off today's show?
They're not ready for the men in blue.
They're not ready for the men in blue.
They're not ready for the G-men.
The G-men will be back. Better than ever. We're competing next year.
AP Coach of the Year, a GM with a vision, and a team that's ready to pop off, bro.
Yeah.
Don't write us off.
Don't write us off. That defense will be top 5 next year.
And this is why we bring them on the show.
My timbers are shivered, thoroughly shivered.
All right. Well, if your quarterback can hear us from down there, let him know what we said. Okay.
He's no Danny Dimes.
Bro, Daniel Jones.
That is true.
Daniel Jones needs to get off the crack, bro. What was he on in that press conference?
Bro, it's aura, bro. It's aura. Trust.
All right.
But yeah, we'll see.
Hey,
the
appreciate
Giants.
y'all boys, man.
We appreciate you guys.
You
Thank you guys for coming back on the show. Make sure to check out our Instagram. If it's not already up already, we'll have our mock draft coming out with our official predictive picks. Last year we picked Will Levis at 2. Let's hope we don't do that again this year. Thank you guys so much for listening. My name is Arjun and Rohan.
I'm Rohan Patel.
AJ Spetner.
Corey Madison.
And we'll see you next week on the turf.